The Federal Trade Commission has sued them for being a monopoly. A couple years back, Facebook acquired Instagram, which is the photo sharing app, and WhatsApp, which is a messaging app. The government alleges that Facebook sort of bought them up in order to keep them from competing with them. If Facebook hadn't bought those, if those companies either were allowed to grow on their own, or if another company had bought them, they probably would have grown into competitors to Facebook's main social platform. So Facebook says that's completely not true. Facebook's favorite thing to talk about is that it thinks that it faces a lot of competition.
Who's your biggest competitor?
Senator, we have a lot of competitors.
Who's your biggest?
I think the categories of, do you want just one? I'm not sure I can give one, but can I give a bunch?
Two that it likes to bring up quite a bit are Snapchat and TikTok. And it says that this is the way social media is going. This is where teens are going, and therefore it's proof that there's still a competitive environment in social media, and Facebook is not a monopoly. Even though there is some competition from other platforms, those platforms are still really small. The antitrust cases are among the most difficult types of litigation for anyone. These sorts of cases have to go to federal court, and they can take a really long time. It's not unusual for this kind of a case to take 5 or 6 years. First, they have to prove that they think Facebook is a monopoly. Then they have to prove that it has caused harm to competition. The judge has to accept all of that before they even start talking about what to do. The Federal Trade Commission sued them in December. A couple months after they filed the case, the federal judge threw it out. The judge said he didn't think that the FTC had offered enough proof that Facebook is a monopoly. So the FTC came back in August and said, here's some statistics. About 80% of Americans use Facebook, a lot of them every day. So in August, they refiled it with some new information. They're essentially trying again. That means, they're taking a second shot. They're allowed to do that. And it's going to move forward from this point. But Facebook will again get a chance to say, well, we think that you're not really defining or giving enough proof that we're a monopoly. What the government would like to do is break up Facebook. They would like to force Facebook to sell Instagram and WhatsApp, because as they think that if another company had these properties, they could mount sort of like a viable alternative to Facebook.
This is about political power. Yeah. We need to break up Facebook because they exercise so much influence in Washington. The money that they've got, the concentrated power that they've got every day that goes by. They not only get richer, they get stronger.
The Facebook papers that Frances Haugen disclosed give a lot of internal information about how Facebook actually works.
Facebook acting in a non-transparent, unaccountable way will just lead to more tragedies.
Facebook has generally sort of portrayed itself as like a neutral content provider. One thing that Facebook does, according to Frances Haugen, is puts a lot of emphasis on content that will make you angry or content that might upset you, because that's more likely to get a reaction.
The algorithms take people who have very mainstream interests and they push them towards extreme interests. You can be someone center left and you'll get pushed to radical left. You can be center right, you'll get pushed to radical right.
It is making choices about where it chooses to put its thumb on the scale to encourage more things to happen on the platform. This is a discussion that's not just happening here in the US. One of the arguments that Frances Haugen and some people in Congress and other countries' legislatures have made is that these sorts of decisions about how content is portrayed should have a lot more scrutiny. Facebook doesn't put as many resources into moderating hate speech or divisive content overseas, in part because those comments and a lot of those posts are in English and they just don't have as many non-English speakers. So a lot of governments around the world have really been paying attention to these disclosures because it has revealed a lot about where Facebook is putting its resources versus not.